Tonight, friends, I have the pleasure of interviewing the amazing professor from Abbey Road. You see, I had this heavy weight on top of me, and I knew that the professor, who is my bestie mate, would set me free. I was pressed down by a concern that my show must offer viewers evidence-based criticism, clear analysis, and reflect all points of view. There is no one better to do this than the gorgeous Professor Daniel Dane. I shall swivel and get down to it. You know I'm talking about this interview, don't you?
Hello Tracy, I'm here, ready and waiting for you.
Darling, you are always here when I need you. Can you tell our wonderful viewers why Torquay Council faces so much criticism when our ward councillors and the civil servants at the town hall aren't held personally responsible for all the fly tipping, drug dealing, and the abuse of our community's most vulnerable tenants, living in dire housing arrangements with rats and broken windows?
That will be a pleasure. This is a topic that I've given a lot of time to. It can't be covered in one session, but when I come back again, as time allows, I will carry on. I will ask the viewers to forgive my boring Welsh tones. I just hope I won't send anyone to sleep.
Oh, darling, you're such an inspiration. No one could ever drift off with you in my box. If I had your academic brain, I wouldn't be struggling as a single mum on Warren Road. I want to absorb every drop of your eruptions of life-giving inspiration, as we all do. Isn't that right, ladies?
Thanks, Tracy. I appreciate that. Criticism and producing satire is in response to people's frustration. Residents campaigning to address social deprivation and inequalities in Torquay know that the council's intention is to ignore us, as business and commerce rules. Residents that proposed a cost-saving parking scheme were rejected. Landlord licensing, promised by the Liberal Democrats before the last election, fell on stony ground. Environment crime remains a daily nightmare, and the council won't come up with solutions. Even public safety is being ignored in a dangerous local cut-through.
Have you any ideas about why Torquay Council doesn't want to help fight poverty in our poorer communities, to create a more equal society in Torquay?
Can I offer you this parable, and before you say it, no, I'm not pretending to be Jesus, even if my hair looks like his. A couple have two sons. One son does well at school, and pleases his parents by joining them in the family business when he grows up. Like his parents, he believes that it's important to make lots of money and be rich. The couple love to boast about him to their friends. The other son did less well at school, and preferred the company of children living on a Torquay council estate. When he left school, he got a job as a motor mechanic, and moved away from his family.
Are you going to tell us that the parents are ashamed of their second son? They don't want to talk about him, and would rather pretend that he doesn't exist, because they think that their posh friends, and the people they need to impress for the sake of their own business and fortunes, will look down on them, and might even pass them by.
Tracy, you are spot on. My first point is this: the reason Torquay Council won't tackle poverty and face social deprivation head-on, is because it's something they need to hide. A Torquay Council administration gets judged by the way it supports the economy and tourism, and keeps council tax and business rates low. It won't ever get votes from its core base if it has bought a row of doss houses, full of drug addicts and ex-prisoners, in a seemingly poor part of town. What is more, there is big money being made by the landlords of squalor, who are more likely to vote Tory.
I'm confused now, darling. How come the Liberal Democrats got in when they promised to tackle poverty? You were at that hustings meeting 18 months ago, when they said they would license landlords to improve local housing for the least well-off residents.
Unfortunately, it wasn't their promise to tackle poverty and inequality that won the Liberal Democrats' votes. They only win when the Tories fall apart, as they did last time. Unfortunately, the Liberal Democrats tend to stay for one term, and don't have the ability to become the vehicle of social change and reform that Torquay so desperately needs. Politically, it has one foot in the world of business, and one in the social housing estates. It can't deliver to both. A centre-ground group only keeps the town hall seats warm for the Tories.
I hate to say this, but I feel totally depressed. Is there any hope for us in the town centre?
Believe me, Tracy, there is, and that's Torquay is all part of that plan.
Well, I shall always keep a seat warm for you on my show, my wonderful and clever professor. Next week, I hope that Terry and Auntie Joan will be back. Auntie Joan has been laying in her dark room, that looks into the cliff, at the back of her cottage, for 2 weeks. She went into a complete state of shock, and total meltdown, when she came across these 2 men, both with their trousers down, taking a poop on laundry steps. Terry said that she has her fingers crossed, hoping that Auntie Joan will feel strong enough to venture down to Carter's this weekend to do some shopping. Mwah.
She's a saint, she's a star from heaven. We can bathe in her afterglow. She's a